September 30th is known to many as Orange Shirt Day. It was established in 2013 to honor the story of Phyllis Webstad, who was forced to attend a residential school when she was 6 and had her orange shirt from her grandmother taken away. In 2023, Ottawa declared the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, making it a statutory holiday for federal employees. As a result, banks and government offices are closed today. Well, music is part of the intergenerational fabric of Indigenous peoples, and Adrian Sutherland, a singer-songwriter from Attawapiskat First Nation, is helping share that culture. He recently started composing in Cree, and his music is now being used as part of an educational program called Ancestors' Voices. Adrian Sutherland joins me now with more. Adrian, thanks for being with us today.
Oh, it's a huge honor to be part of the program today.
Why did you decide to switch from composing in English to Cree? What was that calling?
Well, I mean, I'm a fluent Cree speaker. I grew up speaking Cree, and English actually is a second language. But most of the music I've written has been in English up until a couple of years ago. I decided to play around with some Cree songs, and writing in Cree is a lot different than writing in the English language. And I found it a lot more difficult in some ways, and it's a little bit harder to sing the Cree language out. So yeah, it was just a choice I made. I think as a Cree speaker, I want to do my role to help preserve the language, and I thought it was a good opportunity for me to do that through some of the music I was recording at the time.
Your song Kiosh, it's beautiful. It's being used in that educational program. It talks about Indigenous roots. What's the lesson it shares?
Well, the song was inspired by my ancestors. You know, I spent a lot of time on the ancestral lands here up north in James Bay, and I come across all sorts of signs of my ancestors out on the land. And so kind of this is where the song came from. But one of the important messages in the song is that we're really not here for a long time on this land. You know, life is very, very fast, and I wanted to kind of put out that message that, you know, we're not here for a very long time, so we should try and get along and you know, spread the love into the world.
You're from Attawapiskat First Nation, which is on the shores of James Bay and Hudson's Bay. It's a community, as you know very well, struggled for decades with issues around clean drinking water, among other things. What does the story of your hometown tell us about how much work is still to be done in terms of truth and reconciliation?
Well, I think there has been some steps in terms of truth and reconciliation, and I think one of the most important thing, I think, for a lot of Indigenous communities is drinking water. I think access to clean drinking water is one thing I think we need to do. We need to do a lot better in that whole area. I know Attawapiskat has had water issues for as long as I can remember, and it's not clear to me still if the water is contaminated. So I'm just trying to, you know, as a community member, you're trying to figure out information about the water situation, and getting access to information about your water is sometimes next to impossible. So we still, you know, I still gather water from the dispensaries here in the community. So water is a big thing. And of course, among other things, housing is always an issue up in these communities. There's a huge housing shortage still in a lot of communities in the far north. So some of the things that I tell people is that, you know, take the time to learn about some of these issues, and to do something. You know, that's always a tough question. What can we do to advance reconciliation in this country? And I always say is we got to do something. You know, creating spaces, amplifying voices like mine today on this program is one thing we could do, and to try our best to try to understand some of the to be culturally informed as well, and to be sensitive to some of the traumas that still exist in these communities, and that are still, you know, running that whole cycle of trauma that still exists in a lot of the communities, and just trying to, I think, you know, take the time to really understand some of these issues is really important as well.
All right, thank you for that, Adrian. Much work still to be done on that front. Adrian Sutherland is a Canadian singer-songwriter from Attawapiskat.